Perhaps the most controversial game of last year was the Callisto Protocol, because this is a game that had so much potential behind it. This is a new horror game created by the makers of Dead Space, so people really thought this might be some Game of the Year idea, a project that could actually push the boundaries of frights. Now, I do want to say, Callisto Protocol is not a terrible game, and in fact, ever since launch, they have made it better and better. Over the course of the last couple patches, they've introduced new death animations, they've fixed the weapon swapping, healing yourself is faster. This is definitely the best version of Callisto Protocol, but now they decided to release the final piece of downloadable content called the Final Transmission, and I decided to beat it, and I have to say, I am very unhappy with it, but let's discuss why. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, I want to make it very clear, I'm not coming at this from the position of a hater. I've actually played a ton of the Callisto Protocol. I beat it 4 separate times, I maxed out every weapon, I did every single audio log, and I even got the Platinum Trophy. So going into the Final Transmission, my biggest hope was some sort of conclusion, a resolution, because the original ending of the Callisto Protocol was a terrible cliffhanger. Now, without spoiling anything, I can tell you that somehow they took the completely awful ending of the Callisto Protocol and made it 50 times worse. This is the worst ending of any game I have ever seen. I can't show you what it is, but let's talk about what's new in this DLC. It's pretty much nothing. This extra piece of content is 120 minutes long. This extra piece of content is roughly 2 hours long, and in it, there's nothing really revolutionary about it. This is basically Jacob, the main character, randomly wakes up and he has trauma amnesia. He doesn't know why he's in this part of the prison. He doesn't know what's going on. And it creates this one very interesting element to the Final Transmission, which is constant hallucinations. There's interesting double imagery. There's times where you see prisoners that you know are definitely dead and they're running around talking. There's times where you try and open up a chest and it's not there anymore. I like the concept of you going crazy in a world gone mad, but they never really go anywhere with it. Now, in this DLC, there's one new monster and there's one new weapon, and both of which they don't really appear till pretty much the end of the downloadable content, which to me is a massive freaking letdown. So the new monster that's trying to attack us, they really hype it up. They're like, oh my god, this thing is an abomination. It's this horrible, evil, unstoppable killing machine. It's incredibly easy. So it's called a biophage robot. Now, this is like a giant plot hole, I feel like, but we're in a robot factory. You know those mechanized guards from the original main story? Even though there's only 2,000 people in this prison, they have an on-site factory that's printing hundreds and hundreds of robot guards. I don't know why that exists. And now the robot guards are getting infected with the zombie virus. All of this doesn't really make sense, and they really act like this is the penultimate super evil, the hardest of the hard things to kill. They're laughably easy. There's multiple times in this DLC where they're really oh no, the monsters are going to get you, but you just shoot them a little bit and they fall over. It feels very anticlimactic that they build these things up to be this new, increasingly dangerous foe that's going to make you have to fight harder than you ever have. And they're pretty much just your standard guy. You know, they're going to walk at you, you're going to dodge them, you're going to bash them about. Now, speaking of bashing, they unlock a totally new weapon in this DLC that honestly, I wish we had for the entire game, but I guess it would break stuff. It's a electronic sledgehammer. It shoots lightning out of it. Now, this thing is kind of cool, but kind of not. It works just like your standard melee. You have the exact same combos, but now you can also choose to hold R1 to do a charged up super attack. Now, the weirdness of this is that the damage of the hammer is brokenly strong. Now, this is definitely by design. It's to encourage you not to use your guns, to actually practice the melee combos and stuff. So whenever you start to fight those big old mech robots, when they start really flooding them with you at the end of the DLC, it's cool that you can just bash them to gooey bits and, take them down to this wet USB component parts. I will say, I wish we got it earlier on. Like, the hammer is so cool, it liquefies standard zombies instantly. I wish, as fun as it is, we got it at the very beginning of the DLC, and I wish we could take it into other parts of the map. I wish we could actually, go fight the previous bosses with this hammer, but we just can't. I think I feel very conflicted about this DLC because it's just such a weird note to end on. A lot of times with downloadable content, this was designed a very long time ago. This isn't something they just threw together after launch. They planned this DLC before the game even came out, and so it still suffers from the Callisto Protocol problems. It still has a story that doesn't really make sense. The audio logs, the newly unlockable storyline stuff is just really, really weird. They still have you walking through creepy labs to try and fill you with a bunch of exposition about why the world is the way it works. I guess I'm just extra disappointed because this game did get better. I do think the tweaks and tuning they've done to Callisto Protocol have made this a better project. If you found this game for $20, I still think the main campaign is, really definitely worth it. At least one playthrough, especially for a lower price. My issue is that when I originally reviewed this game, I gave it a 7 out of 10, and a big problem I had is the lack of a conclusion. That Jacob's story is just a goofy cliffhanger, and now they sell you the actual ending of the game, and it's a different cliffhanger. Come on. This just feels like some weird... honestly, it feels like a practical joke. I'm not sure what the plan here is. This is going to sound really harsh. I was excited for the idea of a Callisto Protocol 2, but if it's anything like the final transmission, I'm definitely a lot less excited. If you're already a mega fan of Callisto Protocol, you're going to enjoy this. It's more of the main game to a T. It's the exact same combat, the exact same graphics, the exact same corridors. It takes over your existing weapons, so I was still able to use my assault rifle to liquefy people. But if you're looking for something better, something improved, this ain't it. Okay, well, these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts after defeating this piece of DLC. What do you guys think about it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Man, striking distance, come on, guys. You could have done better. That's what irks me. This should not have been like this. This should have been better. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.